how do we use AI, and how is it also present in people's lives without them already knowing? We kind of touched on it before with like your phone throwing up a particular app at a particular time. Like maybe you wake up and you meditate and you pick up your phone and it knows, okay, you've picked up your phone, it's like 7 o'clock. Here's your meditation app. That is AI. So it's kind of present more than people think. How do we, between the three of us, how do we currently use AI? I don't mind going first, or one of you can go first.
You can go first. I don't really.
Yeah, you do.
Give me an example of what I would do. Like, I don't.
You used it literally yesterday, didn't you?
Well, not. Well, yeah. Sometimes I use it for my job, but I don't use it like apart from in work.
Yeah, but you still use it.
Work. Yeah. So I mean, I might ask. Although it's not a perfect. I don't find like ChatGPT perfect tool. It's
a very good starting point, though.
Yeah. So, for instance, if you get it to create 20 maths questions on fractions, decimals, and percentages, something I did yesterday, I did spot a few mistakes. Like, as in, you still need to be able to evaluate what the computer has done.
Yeah, you can't blindly take it as gospel. You've got to...
Because I was like, no, that maths is just wrong. Like, because I got it to like generate the answers to the questions that it created, and it was like a few of them were incorrect. So I just said, okay, that's wrong and that's wrong. But then I'm probably helping it learn, which is I should make it dumb. I should just say, no, okay, 2 + 2 is 5. just to trick it up. So
to get more students in.
yeah. But yeah, it's an imperfect tool, but I use it quite a lot to generate tasks quickly that students can do. And then I have to go through checking all the tasks because it does some interesting things sometimes. It hasn't really mastered writing a story. Like, it's okay, but it's not... It's not to the level that you'd really want a story written to. Yeah, it sounds very unnatural. It's like a fairy tale almost. Every story reads like a fairy tale.
Right.
But you can do
like an 8-year-old.
But you can do interesting things. Like you can tell it to write something in the style of someone. And then you got some more interesting sort of.
But yeah, I think a big thing is knowing how to prompt it.
Yeah.
And like you give it one prompt, you think, oh, that's slightly off. Okay, well, do this again, but with simpler words. Okay, rewrite this again, but in 4 sentences rather than like 3 paragraphs.
The biggest thing for me that limits it is it doesn't have a all-encompassing knowledge of the curriculum as much as, say, a teacher or someone like that. So I think at the expert level it fails, but then for the good novice, it sort of answers everything like an amateur would, but it doesn't give you the sort of level of answer sometimes that is required. So for instance, if you were to ask it to write an essay about like the American Civil War and like the causes, it would give a very, very limited opinion piece essentially on probably at quite a relatively low level. Say like you'd expect that from like a intelligent 15-year-old or 14-year-old, but certainly not like an A-level essay or university. Like it's very, very far off that. But 114 IQ or whatever, right, if it's roughly about that, even though we're measuring in purely human scales, it's pretty good. Like you can do what a lot of people can't do, which is a little worrying.
How about you?
I think I use AI the most when I've gotten to a point with an idea that I just need it to turn up, basically. Like I need to do the creative thinking, I need to do the research, I need to get to a point where I'm like, okay, this is what it's looking like visually. Mostly I'm thinking about like social media posts, because that's the majority of what I'm doing and using AI for. So I already know what I want, but it's mostly like it would just be easier for me to generate what it is that I want. So if I've come up with, okay, the post is going to be, like recently it was like ideas for helping your child that doesn't like writing, like to find writing interesting. I guess I did the work to the point of deciding that that's what I wanted. And then AI came in where I said, generate some ideas for a student to improve their writing in a fun way or something like that. And then from there, it does provide some ideas. And then it's my job to, select from there whether that's a good one or not. Can I reword that? Which order should they be in? How can I visually present that? And make the assessment on what it's given me. So I think where I bring in AI is for like the stuff that would take a long time to gather. It can just gather it for me quickly, and then it's for me to decide what to use from that.
So it's still more like an assistant rather than like the main writer.
I feel like it for me it's like a net for Google. Like it's just like, instead of trawling the entire internet as well as social media, because I find social media quite difficult to navigate. It's not built like Google. When you're trying to search for inspiration or ideas, I can tell it what I'm doing, get it into the mindset of, we're creating an Instagram post. That gives it certain parameters. And then from there, it comes up with some fairly good ideas, because they're mostly ideas that somebody else has had. Or if not, somebody else has had 3 of them, another person's had 2 of the ideas, another person's had the other 2. So the ability to bring inspiration together into a list that I can use, and then, put my own spin on it. That's where I really like playing with it. I think the creative part is like deciding where to utilize it as a tool. But if I was to use it for every step of the way, I know what I create wouldn't be as relevant for what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, or as creative.
It would just feel
forced and
it'd feel generic. It wouldn't feel tailored to my specific audience or my specific goal in that moment. But I can pick and choose elements that feel more tailored.
Sometimes my brain just goes on a little holiday, and then I go, okay, I've got this idea for like a maths question or something like that. And I write the question out, and I go, okay, how would you say it better? We'll say like get it to refine something that I've done, and then it says it, and I'm like, okay, that's a much clearer way of saying it, because I probably could come up with something clearer, but then
it'll take you time to
it takes me time to figure it out. So it does save a lot of time, but you always need to refine what it comes up with. I've never had it come out like perfect. Like I always think a good tip generally is give it not too much to do. If you give it too much to do, it just goes crazy, and it's just like none of it's usable. But then if you give it like a small, very well-defined task, like for instance a product description, it's not a particularly creative thing to do generally, but it's just something that you need on your website or something like that. It can generate, if you say like give me a 50-word product description of this, and just explain what it is, then it will be able to create something relatively usable, and then you just need to edit it a little bit. But then when it does like really long pieces or something like that, it really struggles. So if you like to write an essay, that would be an awful way of prompting it. Your first thing would be like suggest some like headings for my essay, and then you'd like have to break it down into those different parts, individual parts, and then say like, okay, write a 300-word thing about each part of this essay.
It's currently just another tool that you have to learn how to use.
Yeah.
For me, product descriptions, yeah. Occasionally some
Your YouTube
maybe it's
things.
YouTube descriptions or tags or whatever. Some other things that we maybe haven't thought about, like Canva or any background remover.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
AI.
Yeah, that's image like
Yeah.
AI is really, really good.
And like Google's latest one where there's that, they had somebody next to a waterfall. That was in the, what's it called? The keynote, like a couple months ago. And she hadn't lined up the waterfall perfectly with her hand or whatever it was. And then she had a bag strap going like that, and they just went
Oh. Oh yeah.
and then filled out the bit. And it was
Oh,
like
wow.
a perfect picture.
Wow.
So that sort of stuff is AI.
Yeah.
Like Google's Magic Eraser.
Even no, to be honest, even when you take a picture, like it is,
There's a lot of AI in
there's
that.
a lot of AI that goes into the processing of that picture, like
Yeah.
that you don't see or
The
you're aware of.
computational photography. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, I use it for that sort of stuff.
Thanks for watching this clip of the Education Lounge podcast. If you want to watch some other clips, click here. If you want to watch the full episode, click down here. Please like and subscribe as it really helps our channel.
The Education Lounge podcast.